Hello, family. I'm Dwight,
And I'm Dewanda.
and
And
we
we
are
are
the
the
Washingtons.
Washingtons.
And I want to thank you again for tuning in today to our podcast.
Mhm.
And if this is your first time being here, I just want to say welcome to you. And of course, if you've been here following us previously, you know we call this the HELP podcast. And that HELP is an acronym for honesty, empathy, love, and
And
patience.
patience.
And we finally say every marriage needs help. Whether
Mhm.
you've been married 50 years or 5 days, all of our marriages need help. So, again, thank you for tuning in. And if you would do me a favor, since you're here, would you do me a favor and like, share, but most importantly, subscribe
Mhm.
to our podcast? Of course, those of you who are social media savvy, you know the importance of algorithms. And so, the more people we have watching the podcast, the more people we can help. And that's our goal, really, is to be a blessing to those of you who are married or thinking about getting married, whether you know dating uh, or been married 50 or 60 years. We want to be a blessing to you
Mhm.
in your marital situation because all of us need each other to
Mhm.
help us navigate uh, the aspects of being married. So, again, like, share, but most importantly, please subscribe to the channel. So today, we have been, uh, my wife and I have been carrying on conversations about what we could talk about because we always want to be relevant to your situation. And so today we're going to talk about having unrealistic expectations. And I think that's a big deal
Mhm.
because most many problems occur because the other party had an unrealistic expectation of what the other party was going to do, what they were going to say, or how they were going to respond. So, sweetie,
Mhm.
say hello to our audience.
Hello.
Okay, uh, is that all they're going to get today? You're going to talk later.
I'll talk later.
Okay,
Yeah.
good deal, good deal.
Okay.
Uh, I don't know how you feel, but in our conversations, it's our opinion that we have made breaking up too easy.
Mhm.
Uh, people spend thousands of dollars and uh, hundreds of man hours into planning a wedding,
Mhm.
uh, but they spend very little time in staying married. And my wife is currently helping a young couple at our church navigate a wedding process, and just listening to her have conversations with the party, uh, there's a lot of planning that's going into that, and it just occurred to me in a real sense, uh, that most people spend a lot of time uh, preparing to get married, but
Mhm.
we spend very little time on being married. And so we want to address some of those issues today, and hopefully something will be said that will help you on your journey. So, as I said, I think that we have made getting divorced and breaking up too easy. Really, you don't really even have to have a reason. You just say irreconcilable differences, and that's good enough.
Mhm.
So we want to give you the tools that have helped us because we hit 40 years this year.
Mhm.
High five.
High five.
We hit 40 years this year, and it's been a journey
Mhm.
between learning each other, and for us, we left our parents' houses and moved right in, got married and moved right in together. So
Mhm.
there was not a lot of time to find ourselves.
Mhm.
We had to find each other while we were trying to find ourselves, and sometimes that wasn't the easiest thing to do. But hopefully you have a good partner like I did and like I have, and she made the journey or the transition easy. But everybody's not as fortunate as I am.
Mhm.
Everybody doesn't have the person that's going to work with you and support you while you're trying to navigate and find your way. Many times we want a ready-made product,
Mhm.
and sometimes you don't get that. You have to see the potential and begin uh, to cultivate that potential. I wasn't this. I wasn't always this suave and debonair. Was I when you first met me?
You wasn't. You wasn't, but
That's the wrong answer.
well, you wasn't, but
But
I,
what did you
I
see?
I seen potential. First, I seen a man, but no, I got a man. No, I seen potential, and I knew. I don't know by looking at your family that I can work with him. I think a lot of time we mess up and we don't look at the family. I mean, what bloodline you coming from?
You know that is. I hadn't even thought about that really.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
you took a look at the
I
family.
took a look at the family. Now, if the family crazy, then more than likely you gonna have a little craziness in you.
Yeah.
But if I mean, your mom is sweet and your dad was really nice, and I'm like, okay, you got some good qualities down in there somewhere.
You just
I
gotta
said, pull it out.
you just gotta you gotta get it dug out.
Yeah.
And yeah, you work with me, and
Hmm.
I worked with you because I remember the first time saw you. You were dressed like an old lady,
Whatever.
and we laugh about it now, but it's like whoa,
Whatever.
because your parents were older,
They were older.
and
Yeah. They had us when
and
they were so old.
so they dressed you guys accordingly. They dressed you. Your- you look like an old
Whatever.
Kojic missionary.
Whatever.
But I saw that there's deep down
It was something.
beyond the stockings that you can't see through and the wedge heel shoes. There's a young lady in there,
Whatever.
and so we work with each other.
Yeah.
And of course, when the kids came along, we had to kind of pivot and transition.
Hmm.
And as we went through different phases of life and jobs and all that, we were able to navigate it because our expectations were realistic, and we learned each other.
Yeah.
We learned each other early on. I mean, we're still learning each other even after being together, 40, 45, 46 years. We're still learning each other, but we have realistic expectations.
Yeah.
Like I know certain things that are in your world, how you move.
Hmm.
You have a certain way you move. I know what you like. You don't like to stay home. You like to.
Don't make it sound like I gotta get out the house.
Well, you do have to get out the house. You you go stir crazy. So you have
I gotta be around people.
or you run your errands, and you do your church work, and pass out your cards, and ask the cashiers what church they go
What
to.
church
That's
you
your
go
thing.
to. Oh yeah.
Because it's always with you. Ministry is important, and
Mhm.
I understood that early on, and for me it's important as well. So we have things in common, and of course there's some things that we do a little bit differently, some things we process a little bit differently, but overall we've just learned over the years to have realistic expectations of the other person.
Right.
I did a demonstration not too long ago at the church, and I had a gallon container and a pint container, and the gist of what I was saying is the gallon was designed to hold a gallon, and the pint was designed to hold a pint, and there was nothing wrong with either one, but the gallon had to understand that if it was going to get the gallon into the pint, it was going to have to do it a pint at a time, because the pint did not have the capability to be able to contain the whole gallon.
Right.
So the gallon had a gallon worth of energy, a gallon worth of intimacy they required, a gallon worth of energy they had. So, but the pint only had a pint worth of energy, a pint worth of intimacy available to give. So there had to be some conversations that took place so that everybody got what they wanted,
Right.
but they didn't have expectations of the other party that were unrealistic. So that was everybody seemed to get it.
Yeah.
It made sense
Makes sense.
because everybody says, "Hey, I've had I think I've had unrealistic expectations of not only in a marriage situation, but in people that are in your life. You know, I always say, because we kind of lead the ministry, but we have awesome staff persons that help and make sure things go. We have an awesome board of directors, because we can't do this by ourselves. But you know how much to give to each person.
Yes.
And that was a process of us learning that over the years. We know that if we're going to have a church picnic, you don't give the job of bringing the spoons and the forks to the person that we know is probably going to be a little late.
Yeah.
So we're all standing around with plates with no utensils. So just learning the people. So this having realistic expectations can be applied to any situation, even on if you work in corporate America, whatever you do, that can be applied. One of the things we talk about is you told me that when you were a small girl, that concerning marriage, you had this idea of your husband.
Cinderella.
Cinderella. And of course, the Cinderella that you always watch makes absolutely no sense to me, because you watch the new school one with Whoopi Goldberg and Whitney and that whole thing, and it still boggles my mind how it makes sense that a black woman in Whoopi Goldberg, a white husband, can have a Chinese or looking child, but you tell me I'm putting too much thought into
it. Yeah. It's just go with the storyline.
Just to go with the storyline.
Yeah.
But in that story, the prince comes in on a white horse, and he swoops up, you. That was your mindset. And where did you get that from?
From Cinderella.
You got it from TV.
TV,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what we determined.
I mean, what else was I going to get it from? Oh, I guess at home.
So, I mean, my point was that a lot of people get their ideas about marriage and relationships from television.
Yeah.
And so, when you met me, I wasn't a dashing prince. I didn't have a white horse. I didn't even have a car. And so you had to kind of say, like, whoa,
what you got?
What? Yeah, do you have
got anything?
But
I have nothing either, though.
Yeah. So I mean, you didn't have. I was gonna. That's what I was going to say.
Let me say it.
I was going to remind you that you didn't. You wasn't exactly the grand prize either. But we met and we liked each other, and here we are, over 40 years later, still making it work and doing what is necessary. But my original point was that, that was an unrealistic expectation that you got from TV. And unfortunately, most of our ideas about relationships we get from TV. When we were growing up, the main TV shows that we watched, Leave It to Beaver, The Brady Bunch,
Father Knows
Best, and Dennis the Menace, and all those sitcoms. Every problem was solved in 30 minutes.
I Love Lucy.
And in most of those situations, the wife did not work. And when the husband came home, and he had on his suit and his briefcase and shiny shoes, and the wife would meet him at the door with pearls
on,
and
heels,
an apron and heels.
Your dinner be ready in a few.
Yeah. And that was the examples that we saw on television. Uh, but when we got married, you had to work.
Yep.
So, you know, the question becomes, is is it realistic of me to expect my wife, who works just like I do,
Mm-hmm.
to have my slippers laid out and my bath water run and dinner ready
Right.
when I get home?
Mm.
So when I come home, where's my dinner?
Like, didn't you bring it home with you?
So it was always, I understood that
Mhm.
when you get home, dinner's probably not going to be done,
Right.
uh, and but it'll get done
Yeah,
eventually.
you gotta be good with that. Just sit down, chill for a few, and I'll get dinner on.
And you was always good about that. You were always uh, wonderful about making things work.
Thanks.
I think, ladies, you guys have the ability. Those ladies who are watching, not putting all the pressure on you, but you have the ability to make it work.
Mm-hmm.
That somehow you guys have been given, I believe, the ability from God
Mm-hmm.
to make it work.
Yeah.
You all take situations, and they may not be the best situations, but you all have the ability to just make it work.
Mm-hmm.
And you had that ability. You
Thank you.
could go in the kitchen, and I knew there was nothing hardly in there,
Mm-hmm.
and all of a sudden you just made it work.
Mm-hmm.
So
I had a good example. My mom did. She always made it work with the little.
I think you would go in there, look in the refrigerator, look in the cabinets, and just I don't know,
Just, we gotta put this together.
just put this. I
It's
mean,
gonna be a meal.
yeah, I mean, it just and we made it work.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I guess it goes back to uh, having realistic expectations.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we understood at some level that whatever's in the kitchen
Is what we eat.
is what we gotta work with.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, when it comes to unrealistic expectations, a
Mm.
lot of young couples look at couples who have been married 10, 20, 30, 40 years,
Mm-hmm.
and they look at what they have acquired, and you know they say, hey, how come we not like that? Well, just be patient.
Mm-hmm.
Be patient. Work through the process.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is not going to happen wham bam.
Right.
There's going to be some lonely nights.
Mm.
There's going to be some situations that you both have got to navigate,
Mm-hmm.
but you'll get there.
Yeah.
You'll get there. Marriage is not really a destination; it's a journey.
Mm.
It is learning each other. It is figuring it out.
Yeah.
Uh, a lot of the shows that we watch give us unrealistic expectations. A lot of the books that we read
Mm.
suggest to us unrealistic expectations. You just got to know
Mm-hmm.
the person you're with. I got to learn
Yeah.
you,
Exactly.
and you got to learn me,
Mm-hmm.
because really the only two people that matter in this situation is us.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got to get it worked out.
Yeah.
So I'm how can I say this? Uh, I think I made a good choice as well
With me.
with you.
Okay. That's
You
nice. Thank you.
you
Likewise.
which one of us chose? I think you chose. You think you chose me.
I did. I chose you and suggested to you you should choose me.
So that wasn't you saying that wasn't even my idea. It was your idea that you planted
I
in my.
planted it in your mind. I am the one you need.
See?
Yeah.
You planted
Yeah.
that
Mm-hmm.
thought.
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Because women, I mean, we some bad girls.
Yeah.
We know how to work it. We do. If you just use the ability you have to help your marriage, I think it can be successful.
What if somebody's watching and they're like, uh, I, you guys seem to get along so well, um, but I'm struggling in my marriage.
Mm-hmm.
So how how can I get my marriage to look like your marriage?
Mm.
And my response would be, first
Mm-hmm.
of all,
Mm-hmm.
don't try to get your marriage to look like my marriage,
Exactly.
because every house, what do we say, has
Has
its
its
own
own
flow.
flow.
Every
Mm-hmm.
house has its own flow.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea is not to get your marriage. I think that's where people mess up. That's
Yeah,
where the
looking at other people's
unrealistic
marriages.
expectations come
Yeah.
in, because around here we're blessed.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I mean, you counted up the married couples, and many, probably half of the church
Mm-hmm.
is married.
Is married.
So, and then the other half, of course, is single.
Mm-hmm.
And in ministry, you have to minister to everybody.
Yes.
But we've got people here that have been married, over 45 years, and
Mm-hmm.
some, and we're at 40
Mm-hmm.
plus, and then we have others that are 25 and
Mm-hmm.
20. So there's a lot of marriage experience
Yes.
just here in the ministry that God has given us. But I always tell people, young couples, don't try to pattern after, you know, my marriage or the
Mm-hmm.
marriage over here.
Right.
Uh, find your own flow,
Mm-hmm. Make yours work.
because there are things that you know you allow
Mm-hmm.
or that you like, that their spouse, if the man
Mm-hmm.
is trying to figure his wife out,
Mm-hmm.
his wife might not want that.
Exactly.
So he's got to, it takes a lot of conversations,
Mm-hmm.
and we still talk.
Yeah.
We talk about, even at this point in life, we talk about goals that we still, have to reach, things that we still want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but I think at this point in our life, uh, you know, we got ministry, and we got other things that we do.
Mm-hmm.
But this at this point in life, we advise people.
Yeah.
I lovingly call us, as it relates to our children, parental advisors.
Mm.
That we can't tell them what to do, but we
Right.
just advise.
Them. Yeah.
So when you're an advisor, you just put it out there.
Mm-hmm.
You do what you want to do.
Yeah.
I'm just putting it out there. This is
Yeah.
what I would do if I were
Mm-hmm.
you, but you don't have to do this.
Right.
And of course, most of the time they listen pretty
Mm-hmm.
good.
They do.
They do.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. So that would be my response if somebody says, "Hey, I want my marriage like yours." I'd say, "Hold,
Mm-mm.
slow your roll.
Right.
You don't know if you really want this.
Mm-hmm.
Just figure your own
Mm-hmm.
your own situation out. Figure out what is realistic expectations in our context.
Right.
Like, I know that you get up early.
I do.
Like, I go to bed late.
Mhm.
I'm a night owl,
Mm-hmm.
because for me, that's when I think best. When I'm not getting phone calls,
Mm-hmm.
nobody is reaching out to me usually, and I can think,
Yeah.
and whether I'm reading or watching a movie or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So we understand that you're a night owl.
Yeah.
So, or
No.
I'm
Yeah,
I'm
you're
the
a
night
night
owl,
owl.
and you're
Mhm.
and you're the early riser.
Mhm.
So most of the things that we do, we kind of meet there in the middle. So
Yeah.
we do a lot of our activities in the afternoon,
Mm-hmm.
because both of us, are fresh.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just a process.
Mm-hmm.
It's a process of learning. Like, when you are talking to uh, young ladies,
Mm-hmm.
uh, is there anything particular that you say, or do you kind of like minister to them when you're speaking with them? Do you just kind of minister situationally, like what they're going through now, or do you kind of just talk in generalities,
Mm,
or is it a combination?
it's a combination of both. Just listening and asking a lot of whys, and a lot of, is it that deep? Calm
Yeah.
yourself down.
You calm down.
Yeah, calm down. You can work through this. And I think everybody have to have somebody in their life is like that's going to help mellow them out. Like, girl, get your mind together. Why? Just calm down. You got a good man, work with him. But a lot of times we get crazy, and it's like you just blowing this up, and now you going to lose this good man. He ain't cheating on you. He's working. He cares for you. He's not beating you. We can work with that. We can work with it.
And again, it goes back to our like, if all the things that you said, if he's a good guy,
If he's good.
and he holds down a job,
Mm-hmm.
he loves you,
Yeah.
like,
Or he may not even know how really to love you yet. Like that.
so
Like you want him to love you.
so
Then you got to go through some molding.
you got to train him.
Yeah, you got to train him. Honey, some pretty flowers over there. Or, ooh, I would love a box of chocolate one day. Or buy it yourself and like, look what you bought me. Oh, I bought that? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Until they catch on.
yeah, yeah. It's all about training, letting the other person know what is acceptable, what you want. Because as I always say, if I never tell you that this is something that I don't like,
Yeah.
then by default I've given you permission to continue to do it. And so for us, there's always been a lot of communication, and and having realistic
Yeah,
expectations.
that's true.
I mean, we keep saying that because that's what the podcast really is about today. We're trying to bring everything back to realistic expectations. And, over the years, we've counseled a lot of people. And I think we've both seen that a lot of times the problems are not that serious.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like
You blew it up.
it's been blown up. It is not that serious.
Yeah.
And of course, if you are looking for something to argue about, you'll always
You'll
find
it.
you'll always find something to argue about, because that's how life goes.
Yeah.
But at some point, you got to say, look, we are going to make this work. And so when the children come along, the children should not come between
Yeah.
the husband and the wife.
Right. Yeah.
It should be the husband, the wife, and then the children. Because if you can imagine putting the husband here, and then the wife is next to him, and then we put the children, we cram them in the middle, what has that done distance-wise? It's made the distance between the husband and the wife greater.
Right.
So then eventually the children are going to leave.
They're going to leave.
So, if you've created this huge chasm between the husband and the wife, and they were, originally filled with the children, their ball games and their choir recitals and their PTA meetings, then when they leave, you've got this big chasm that's now unfilled.
Yeah. Like, who are you?
Right, and you've not spent any time learning the other person.
That's true.
So a lot of couples who have been married for years and years break up because they allowed the children to be in between them. Everything in a marriage has to be in its proper place. Like our relationship with God, I think that has to come first, and then our relationship with each other. In every situation, and our kids know this, you and I we're gonna side with each other.
Yeah.
Like I'm taking your side, and I might tell you later on, hey,
you was a little off.
That was a little off on that, but I'm not gonna tell you that in front of the children or in front of somebody else, because if I do that, then that diminishes, who you are as a trusted counselor in the eyes of that person.
Yeah.
So, when it came to us, we're always going to take. I'm going to take your side.
Yes. Like, Likewise.
and you're going to take my side.
Mhm.
So the children understood that,
Yeah. Mhm.
right? So
Mhm.
they understood that it didn't make any difference
If you go ask daddy,
if you go ask dad,
mama,
because he's probably going to say, "What
gonna
did your
say
mom
same
say?"
thing.
So
I'm gonna ask daddy. Go ask him.
we got to be on the same page,
Mm-hmm.
and that really helped us.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, everybody, deserves VIP treatment,
Mm-hmm.
and when we look at VIP, and when you go out to restaurants, everybody wants to be treated special.
Exactly.
It gives you a great feeling when people know your name,
Mm-hmm.
they know who you are, they know what you like.
Mm-hmm.
Some places that you may go that if you go often, they know what you want,
Mm-hmm.
and they just will it be you? Are you eating the regular today, or
Right.
because you've been there so
Been
often
there, yeah.
that they know what you want, and that's everybody likes that VIP treatment.
Mm-hmm.
So in marriage, in relationships, everybody deserves to be a VIP,
That's good.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we had said when it as it relates to VIP, that everybody deserves to be valued.
Mm-hmm.
They deserve to be invested in,
Mm.
and they deserve to be protected.
That's good.
They deserve to be. I've got to understand what you bring to this relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, everybody has a part to play. Everybody has to do their job.
Mm-hmm.
And if at any point, somebody does not do their job, sometimes it makes the whole thing kind
Yeah.
of a little wonky.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody has to be on the same page and do their job.
Mm-hmm.
And with us, we have assignments at the house,
Mm-hmm.
because it's not right for one party to do everything,
Right. And the
and
other one
the other one just
sit
kind of chills.
around. Yeah.
The other one chills.
I mean, but I guess if that's your flow in your house.
If that's your flow, then again,
Mm-hmm.
that wouldn't work in our house.
No, it would not.
But if that's your flow,
Mm-hmm.
then have at it.
Flow with it. Yeah.
Have at it.
Mm-hmm.
I tell the story of a gentleman that I know that every year for his birthday,
Mm-hmm.
he goes out to lunch. There's an ex-girlfriend that he had back in high school,
Mm.
and of course right now they're just friends.
Okay.
So every year at his birthday,
Mm.
she takes him out to lunch
Mm.
as a friend.
Okay.
And I asked him one day, I said, "Is your wife okay with that?"
Mm.
He said, "Oh yeah, my wife trusts me.
Mm. Okay.
She knows there's nothing there. I mean,
Right.
granted, my friend is attractive, but my wife knows that there's nothing there, and she trusts me."
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "She don't go with you guys?" She said, "Well, sometimes she does. Most times she doesn't."
Mm.
I was like, "Really?"
Okay. Mm.
So I was like, "Man, I cannot wait to get home because I've definitely got to renegotiate my
go
contract."
right ahead. Hmm.
But I was like, I don't know if my wife would go along with
Not
that.
at all. Not one bit.
You
And
know-
I do trust you. I don't trust the situation.
Well, some people, they throw that up at you. Well, if you trusted me, it wouldn't be a problem.
Yeah.
And
I'll be
sometimes,
like, go sit down somewhere.
right, right.
Because you ain't going.
Sometimes we just say stupid stuff because, in our mind, we know that's off.
Mm-hmm.
But if you trusted me, you wouldn't mind. No, it's not that I don't trust you. That's just
Right.
not a good situation
Yeah.
to put yourself in.
Mm-hmm.
That's you're being stupid.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of marriages are on the rocks
Mm-hmm.
because people just
They ain't thinking.
they don't think.
Think. You gotta
It's-
think.
You what about this? Just there's so many
Mm-hmm.
there's so many ways this could
Yeah.
go bad.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
you're out in that situation.
Mhm.
Like I'm out
Mm-hmm.
without my wife.
Mm-hmm.
With
At what
ano-
time?
With lunch? It's lunch.
Lunch. Okay.
With another good looking woman,
Mm-hmm.
and there's
Somebody
just
see you.
there's just so many there's just so many ways
Are
that
you
could
picking
go
me
bad.
up? Anything.
There's just
Yeah.
so many
Yeah.
there's so many opportunities
Mm-hmm.
for that to go bad.
Yeah.
And so
Mm.
but hey,
If that's your flow,
They said it works for them,
okay, go right ahead.
but I don't know. I don't know in many contexts
Yeah.
that would be okay.
I don't think that's wise. It might be your flow and what you do, but I don't think it's wise. But go ahead and flow it out if that's what you do. But we don't play that. Not gonna happen
Well,
at all.
Do you trust me?
Yeah, I do trust you. Not gonna happen.
But yeah, I mean, just
Mhm.
we both
Mhm.
have made it a priority
Mhm.
to avoid like awkward situations that
Yeah.
you got to explain.
Yeah.
Uh,
You gotta think.
yeah,
You're not thinking.
I remember some years ago. Uh, I was at a place of business, and I knew the guy that owns the place, and his daughter was there with him,
Mhm.
who I think she was like 19,
Mhm.
and so she's a grown woman.
Yeah.
So he asked me. He said, because she was dropping her car off, something was going on with her car.
Yeah. I
So
remember
he
that.
asked me. He said, "Would you mind when you leave? Would you mind dropping my daughter off
Mhm.
at her house?" Like, mm, like that's just there's a lot of ways that could go bad.
Mm.
Uh, here I am, and I'm driving uh, a 19-year-old around with me,
Mhm.
and
Somebody called me.
so that's why I called you. I was
Yeah.
like, hey, honey. I mean, because he does a lot for me, so I don't want to say no, I can't do it.
Mhm.
I said, can you come up here
Mhm.
and
Who is she?
take this girl home? And that's what you did.
Yeah.
You came, and you didn't know the young lady. I didn't know her.
Mhm.
I had seen her a couple of times in the shop, but you came and you took her home.
Mhm.
Because I was like, there's just too many ways
Yeah.
that can go bad. Now I gotta try to
I
explain.
know.
Hey, I saw you. Who was
No,
that?
somebody else would have seen you.
Yeah.
And called me.
Well, they
One
always
of my girls.
somebody always
one of
sees
my
you.
one of my home girls. I didn't seen. Guess who I seen? Who you didn't seen?
Like I saw, and then I got to try to explain to you who she was, and
Like
it
what?
just
That would have blew all the way up.
it was just a lot of ways that
Yeah.
could have gone bad,
Mhm.
and so me being the quick thinker that I am,
That's good.
I
You
said,
are.
you know what? Let me call my wife. I told him, I said, I'm gonna call my wife, and she'll take. I said, I'm sure she'll take her home if she's not doing anything. And just so happened you had got off work, and so you came and picked her up and took her home. But we,
Otherwise, you had to ride the bus or somewhere.
yeah, we put ourselves in like precarious, weird situations. Like some things you
I
just
just
should
want to
know.
help.
You should just know, like, this is just not.
Or bounce it off of somebody.
Yeah,
Let them
like,
think for you.
you got to have trusted people in your life that you can bounce things off of. Like, and I think that's another
good.
problem that younger couples have. They don't have trusted advisors
That's good.
that are in their life that they can come to with no judgment, no,
Ain't gonna tell all your business.
and then they're not going to tell your business, and you can just bounce it off of them and say, hey, what do you think about this? And a lot of people, they don't have anybody in their life that they have that connection with,
Yeah.
and so we end up making decisions on our own, and a lot of times we just make dumb decisions.
Yeah. I pray that all the time. Every day when I pray about our marriage, it's Lord, help us to not make any dumb decisions or stupid mistakes. It's a daily, all the time. I pray that.
Well, and it's for over 40 years it's worked. You still occasionally make dumb decisions.
Whatever. Whatever. And you also.
But but it's nothing.
That's
It's
what tears
usually
apart.
it's innocent. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, I probably should. You look back, I probably should have done that a different way. But just the devastating decisions. People got to learn how to try to avoid those, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to value you.
Mm-hmm.
I got to invest in you,
Mm-hmm.
VIP.
Yeah.
I got to invest in you. So, a lot of times, people think that if you get something, it's got to be a huge thing.
Mm-mm.
And sometimes it can be just something really small
Yeah.
to let the other person know that I was thinking about
How
you.
much yeah. Send a emoji heart.
Yeah.
I love you.
Yeah.
Something.
I got to invest in you.
Mm-hmm.
And then the P, I've vowed to protect you.
Mm-hmm.
That means not only your person, but I've vowed to protect your feelings, to protect your interest, to make sure that you're good.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if everybody that's in a relationship gives the other person VIP treatment, that there would not nearly be as many divorces and breakups and situationships. But if we would just treat the other person like you want to be treated, I think it would save a lot of marriages.
That's
what do you
good.
think?
I agree.
And you've done a good job with that.
Thank you.
Um,
Likewise.
I applaud you, and I honor you because, you took a chance. Really, I mean, you didn't know who I was, and all the relationships is about chance, and it's about risk.
Yeah.
But you got to take a calculated risk. Like you said, you looked at my family. My mom worked. My dad worked. Sometimes 2 jobs. So you figured that I got some of those genes someplace.
Somewhere, yeah.
And so I always, worked, still do. So I think you've given a nugget today. I don't know if everybody caught on to that, but look at that family and see, and that because that family will tell you a lot about the person that you're
gonna be with.
Yeah.
Yep. Look at the parents. Look at the siblings. Go all the way back, grandma and grandpa, and them aunts and uncles. What's going on over there?
Well, everybody can talk a good game, but I mean, you can tell me that you're going to do this. You're going to always do this. You're going to do this. But then, if I look at your family,
they ain't doing it,
and nobody in your family has ever done that,
unless you escape.
Right.
You probably gonna do the same thing.
Right. So not saying that the family will determine whether or not you proceed with the relationship, but it does give you some things to think about.
Yeah, it's something in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Some type of connection. Yeah.
Well, I thank you for joining me today. I thank you for.
Thank you.
I think we had a good conversation about realistic expectations, and it's critically important that when you're involved in a relationship, a marriage, just are you dating or courting, that you've got to learn what you can expect, and you got to learn what the other person requires, because then when you do, then that prevents you from having unrealistic expectations, and unrealistic expectations are marriage killers. And so when we talk to people, that's what we tell them. And we just try to share our knowledge. Most of the things that we use to when we talk to married couples, we just make examples of the mistakes that we made.
Yeah.
We just say, don't do this.
Right.
And we've made errors, and but we've always been able to come back and to navigate it, to navigate those rough places. Every marriage has rough spots. Some couples are just better at hiding them, so you don't see them. And so you look at it, look at this couple over there, and it's like they never argue. Oh, baby, if you only knew. Every marriage has rough patches, but it's about learning how to navigate those rough patches. And so that's what we try to do in this podcast. So thank you for being with me today.
Thank
I
you.
enjoyed our conversation.
Likewise, honey.
So thank you all for tuning in.
Yeah.
It's been great. We've enjoyed our time together with you today. So until next time, I'm Dwight.
And I'm DeWanda.
And we are the Washingtons. Have a great day.